Hello and welcome, as it is the completion of the 17th day, month number 11, 2019. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades of the like, well, that is within each his own risk and their own reward. I was, this morning, without even looking at this chart, I was thinking, man, this volatility is low. So I just was trying to think, well, which charts do I want to download for data? And I really wanted to get ones that had previous history, which GRS being one of that. And my intention was to find its volatility, but these last 7 days is at all-time lows for such. As this is the 7-day movement, the high divided by low minus 1, or high subtract low divided by low, over the last 7 days, in at 5% right now. And that's generally what it's been as far as overall volatility for quite some time. And then there was this period in here, which, well, I can put the dates in, but that was 2017. All we have is a bunch of numbers down below, so let's stick some dates in. That low was March the 10th, 2017, and the first low going down in here was February 17, 2018, which meant during this time in here when we had the microscopically low volatility between 35 and 40%, that's the low numbers. And it got extremely high at different times within some of its movements. Changing the scale up just a little bit. This is 150% or a 2.5x move. So the amount of times, either up or down, it's had at least a 1-day period. And there's so many in here before that 2017 run. But all of these moves in here, again, supporting this area, which really has been resisting it. And for the last little while in here, really ever since this point in here, it has been that of a microscopic volatility, and really not even from then, really even from, you could say, in here or in here. It's just all those so often big moves that would have. There was one in here, one in here, one in here, actually one here, one here, this one, and then all we've been getting are these piddly assed, I guess you could say, 50-55% moves. So then, those piddly ass 50% moves is like here going from 2300 up to like 37, 24 in that area. And the setup right now is like, okay, we'll see. It looks relatively decent. But again, microscopic volatility within the markets. Theta, another example. Here we have this failed breakout due to this. Will we have another one in here at smaller proportions? Because these moves are just that, smaller proportions. This move, and these are all smaller too. This bigger move. And of course, those large rallies that happen to occur whenever. This one happened at the start of 2016 and it lasted through at the end of the winter. Since then, it's been that. As far as Ripple's concerned, we've got the size of its movements in here. This is today's session, being Sunday. On Ripple, had a low of 30.70 and a high of 31.15. That's a 45 basis point differential. And if we do some math, when the low is 30.70, I need 30 basis points for 1%. 1.5% volatility. The day before that, on Saturday, well, we have a 50-point differential. That's not 1.5%, but it was over 1. And when we take a look at the size of these overall moves in here, they've been, of course, in a downtrend. We had a good run in September. It topped, and it did just that. It topped because it hasn't even tested it since. This level of support, it's trying, I guess you could say. It hasn't quite got there yet. 42.28. I don't know if this move here is going to resist it. And if it getting there if it would do that. But again, lower size moves that have occurred within these markets. Back in 2018, this thing went from below where we are now at 1500 and went way above where we haven't came in close to, because the size of the moves that occur in the market. It's probably going to stay like this for a while. I'm going to wake up tomorrow thinking, yeah, I suppose I should check the markets. Not like anything happening is the type of thinking and feelings that I get. And it's going to stay that way until, of course, it's not. And that's going to be it. And it's not going to stay, okay, oh, something's up 3% today. That's big. And that's sarcastic. And it should be in cryptos. But lately, it seems all the movers in cryptos, 1.2% today, 0.6, 3.1 if it's lucky, or doing really bad for, wow, something's down 3%. That's usually when you go down, you're down 1%, it seems. Anyway, on to Tezos, which is the next one, because it's got a good setup. It really does, I think. I don't got much data to work with, and maybe that's a good thing given how a lot of these markets have been reacting. The size of this range, the lower end is 900, the upper end was 1173. So we do math upon such here. Well, at 1100 it's 2, so about that like 270. I need 90 for 10%. So this was a 30% range in here. And thus the move from here to here is larger than that. This was a high of over 1500. This was a low of like 850. So we're looking at almost, but not quite, a 2x move from low to high against Bitcoin. Hasn't came back to where it came from in here. And it's looking a lot less likely, at least right now, that it's going to do it. Because how has it reacted after the fact and support, which thus established this resistance, comes back down. It again supports the 18 highs like it did here. And in today's session, just as we're seeing this now, we're seeing some excitation amongst such. When we look at this on the single hour term time frame, well, this is the obvious hour in which it went up from, and this move has successfully corrected. It stayed above this level here, held over. It's 61%. It pretty much didn't even look like it tested that. We'll get the exact number here because it doesn't look like a 61% retracement. It looks to me like a 59%. And I'm sarcastically kidding when I say that. 1491 is the high. And the low is 1261. It looks like that seems good to me. So 38.2 is the number that I'm looking at. I gotta think. Let's see, 1344. No, it was a 62%. But okay, so Fibonacci did its thing. Yada yada yada. I mean, just luck that it did it. We'll put a line in there. Okay, that's on me. Because that is more accurate, but not quite. 1344 and 1399. And we'll put the 1399 in, which of course is just piercing above right now at 14. Okay, wrong number. 1425. This is going off pretty good. All right. So this brings us to an interesting situation in here. As it did its thing, it supported it. It was quickly came up to the 61.8 on, or I guess you can call that the 30, however you want to call it, this first Fibonacci, which we can see originally was support from this high. We bounced towards it. It was just luck that it hit this area. I mean, it usually is luck when it happens. And then after a pierce above here, Supports it, not really. Continuous red candle, not a single green candle down in a span of about 5 or 6 periods down to this level, and then not a red candle on a span of 3 to this high. And all this yachting within it has a final support test within it, and now it's like, okay, this is an area to look for resistance. I don't see any here. There's no resistance, yeah, and it's noticeably above it for 14.25. It's not quite at this point. We're pretty much now going to be looking at this 76.4. It's in at 14.33. It's almost a certainty now. I think we're going to go to it. So if you're like a very, very short-term scalping trader, we'll see what happens, because I'm going to shorten this out, see what comes through within this market. And by the time you're watching this, all this stuff should have already came into play. But originally, which would have been, I wasn't here looking at it, but as this is breaking out in here, you're looking for this 1399, 1400 mark really be resistance. Now you're looking for it to be support, because it totally violated what was supposed to happen, and that's resisting previous high and Fibonacci. Here we can see on the 4-minute time frame it came close to it, but it just bolted past that. There was resistance there for the span of 1 minute at 2200 hours 9 minutes. And again, as I'm stating, when I'm looking at this, because I know that this resistance wasn't hit, and I'm looking at all of this take place, if the next intended price target is 14.25, I don't think it's going to be 14.29, which is where it's at now. So then, do I pause the tape and wait to see how right I am about how long it takes to get to 14.33? I suppose not, because I can talk about what happens on that situation. Well, there's other Fibonacci too. This is just one letter of Fibonacci. Then we got this one in here from this high, 1542 to 851. But before that, the upside target here is going to be different. I'm going to take another calculation for that. And I'm probably going to be keying on the 76.4, which is 1336, and the 1223. I mean, come on. Well, 1336 coincides with this number here. This is a very, very, very successful correction. The probability odds that I see a break of these points, to me, seems very high. Now I'm looking for a Fibonacci upside target. And I think what I want to focus on is this high and what probably looks like this low in here. And we'll see what happens. And just for fun's sake, I can put a horizontal line on and then leave this for the next day. See what happens tomorrow into Tuesday. I was just even thinking earlier, oh, Monday's coming. Maybe we'll get volatility in the markets. Probably we won't. But when we don't, that just means we're still going to get some. It's just 5% in a 7-day period. That's actually, well, gold actually is, that's a pretty, gold's average move would probably be 3.5 or 4. Anyway, back again, hour time frame. Let's take a look at what happened more at this point. After all, it's going to most likely give us, will probably just be a lucky spot, and it's just going to be whatever on that. 1544 versus 1166. I guess 50. $18.33 as the up target. What I'm doing here is I'm looking for an up move, which, yeah, obvious. I'm looking for a price correction, which is the low to this in here. And then on a break of established resistance, that's the target. So 18 1/3 is the area that I'm going to be interested in seeing. And if it hits in any type of way, like all these other ones that I keep on showing, it'll just be another case of luck that it just happened to reach that level. And I'm going to pause this because I know it's going to hit 1433. And if the sound is working, that is very interesting. Let me know, because it's very frustrating and hard for me to fast forward to this point, as weird as that might sound. I mean, could in 2 or 3 minutes, but it's probably not working.